You are listening to DC On Screen.
All right, welcome into DC On Screen. I'm David C. Robertson. This is Jason Goss.
Hi.
Man, let's talk about some Superman and Lois, because you've caught up.
I did.
We're done.
I made it. I made it in time to cross the finish line with everyone else.
We are done, man. Holy shit. Well, at least with Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
I've still got to go back for The Flash.
Yeah.
I've got to get back to season 8. It's so tough. But you know what happened is I finished Superman and Lois last night. Mm-hmm. And it is, or I finished it early this morning. This is Monday, December 16th. So I finished it and then looked on my phone, and we have like a teaser trailer for the teaser trailer for Superman and a motion poster for Superman from James Gunn. And I'm like, what perfect timing.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Like, I just sat here.
Wonderful moment.
And if not for the quality, I was at least excited that I was finished with Superman and Lois. And now I'm sitting here going like, yay, and now I can be excited for the next thing.
Mm-hmm. God. So, you timed that so well. Like it held your hand.
Yeah. It was like the Clark's second death.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's like, this death was so different. It's so different from the Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I just got up out of my body and everyone I ever loved was there. James Gunn guiding me.
Mm-hmm. Into another path. But head first to hair and makeup.
All right. So I want to apologize to our listeners. Uh-huh. Because for so many years, and I'm going to apologize to you too, for all these years now, for 4 years, I've been singing the praises of Superman and Lois. And while I agree that it is a step or several steps above most CW, some of the stuff that you were bringing up over, you were in season 2 and you were saying some shit to me, and I'm like, Jesus, was it that bad? And I saved some of these messages that you and I had, these little texts that we had, and just ones that I thought were funny. Right. And because you haven't watched any of this, I've been talking about how good the show is, and apparently I was wrong, So
I still don't think you were, for the record.
Oh, okay.
Well,
that's nice.
Especially in the context of where it aired and what we're used to.
Uh-huh. Well, also it was, co-financed by HBO Max.
Yeah, which became clear at moments.
Yeah, but then also
season
4, I will say this, a staggering decline in writing, a staggering decline in visual effects, a staggering decline in pacing. It was damn near back to Supergirl status in season 4.
See, that's funny. I don't know that I recollect it that precisely as coming back to it. That's a weird point for you to come back to too, because you stopped at 3 and took a long pause. I swept straight through. Apparently I'd watched about 7 or 8 episodes originally and had jumped ship then, accidentally, mind you. This was not by intention. But came back to it, and I basically swept through pretty much the series all at once. But yeah, you had some weird pause right before season 4, and then came back and had this marked difference. And I just kind of thought it was the whole show kind of had a trajectory of, I could tell there was money coming out of the back end at the back half. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit, but overall it was basically the same product for me. I didn't see any kind of huge drop like that.
Yeah,
I just saw him writing people out, and new money was being saved. But
you know what? I thought they did that part really well.
A lot of it, I really did. I thought they did really well with a lot of those.
Yeah, I thought everyone came back just as much as they should have.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see too much more of Sarah. I thought everything was paced out really well with when those people came back in the story, because it very much was the Kents versus Luthor.
Yeah. And they gave you exits that you can sink your teeth into and be okay with. That's so important.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was just stuff they were screwing up on basic filmmaking stuff. I clocked a few times they broke the 180 degree rule, and I was just like, oh my God, that was actually jarring.
What is that one? I don't know that one.
That is where like two characters in a scene should always have the same left-right relationship with each other. So they would be like, going about on a normal, left, right, left, right, left, right. And then they flip to the other side. Like where the dude, what's her face's dad shoots Clark because he knows he's Superman.
Yeah.
They were going left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left, and then back to left, right. Like they literally flipped on the other side of the line to show him shoot that gun.
I see.
And it was awful.
Like they just, yeah, I see what you mean.
There were issues like that
is a
with
shame because it was otherwise a really well formed scene, I thought.
Yeah. It was like they just didn't realize that, like, oh yeah, well, damn it, I think that's what happened too. I think they shot it a certain way and then
they went back for that. They
rendered the gun a certain way in the effects and went, shit.
And it's too late.
And we're just gonna have to. But it was like little things like that, and there was always like action. Like there was some stuff with like Doomsday and stuff that kind of broke that rule and really bothered me. It just takes me out of it for a second. I'm just like, oh. It was like really, really obvious stuff that they should. Clearly, they just didn't have time to go back for that, or the money to go back for that, and do it right.
Gotcha.
It was just little stuff like that. Not huge stuff.
No, I would have. I mean, I did such a casual, fucking distracted kind of viewing of the whole thing, and in general, like I probably failed to get taken away by several of those things.
Yeah,
like I wouldn't have caught any of that. No chance.
I definitely noticed. I think I've talked about this on the show. When we reviewed that clip of him fighting Doomsday in space. What the fuck are they breathing?
I don't know. I've heard people talk about that too. Like you have to breathe in space because if you don't, it is so bizarre to look at that you cannot cope with it. You just have to give it to the viewer just to normalize the scene. But
we're just dealing with a full-on Galactus fucking Cthulhu kind of situation.
Yeah,
where the human brain just can't handle it, so we've got to show them breathing in space.
I guess. I mean, part of me wants to see the cut without it to know for myself out of curiosity.
I mean, it was one thing, look, I'm a Star Trek fan. I get it. You could always yell at me and be like, you can't take there being sound in space or breathing in space when Superman's fighting Doomsday, but you'll be all right with the exploding starship.
Yeah, it's always explosions. That's the best rebuttal to anything sci-fi.
Yeah.
And yes, they did the same thing. I remember Star Wars people talking about they didn't have sound in there at first, and it just fucked things up.
Yeah. I get it.
There may be some validity to that, but I would love to see the cut.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's what I'm saying. I'm going to say that, they've made it canon in the books that, Superman has some sort of aura around him. He emits an aura. So therefore I would say Doomsday does too. That, you can kind of breathe inside of, and it protects the super suit from being damaged as much.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's close to his body. The cape gets a little tattered, but, so fine. They can scream inside of the bubble and they can breathe inside of the bubble, and that's what I'm saying. Now, I can't bend it any further unless to say, through programmable matter, which we saw him making the kids' uniforms out of in the last episode.
Yeah.
There was the thing in the last episode where he's like digging the fucking kryptonite bullets out of his chest. And then in the next shot, like the super suit doesn't have a hole in it. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to have at least 2 holes from those damn kryptonite screws.
I saw a hole in just the middle.
Yeah, I saw a couple A-holes too.
Yeah. There was I thought he was still carved out in the middle. I've always been confused about suit dynamics here too. I mean, like most of what Superman does should tear his clothes in two, or in much smaller pieces, but I've never been given a great explanation anyway. So I guess there's also a little gap there where I didn't care.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely like part of me that didn't care.
So used to not caring in that area.
Please be over. Please end. I'm so good with this.
Let's get out of this one.
I feel so bad saying it too, because I've been championing this show, and I'm glad they got an ending. I'll say that.
No, I did get an ending, and also a lot of that I think was I don't know, a really pretty good ending. I think you were right to champion the show, especially for what it was worth compared to its peers. That thing was a major improvement in a lot of ways. The thing I remember really striking me was that it just felt so much less choppy than some of the other CW shows. Like those CW, a lot of them, episode by episode, it just seemed to want to get through the battle of the week and move on to its next thing.
Yeah.
They kind of did that a lot, but it was more on the emotional side with what was happening in Smallville.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God. I mean, when you watch this in binge form, it feels like every 5 minutes you hear, we have to talk later. We have to talk later. Like somebody's going to have to talk at some point.
Yeah.
Like there are certain things that are repetitive because they leaned on character work for keeping all the serialized stuff going forward. And I mean, God, really, it's Superman. It feels like he only beats up like 7 guys the whole time. But yeah, I think it really wrote a lot to what they could do with that format for sure. I think it was a huge improvement to prove that you could do that much with a character instead of making it a week by week thing.
Yeah.
And then I really thought the story ended like, I don't know. I thought it wrapped up everything they'd done with the character development for them really well. I genuinely enjoyed the ending. I think I wasn't as distracted by some of the sore points as you were going through experiencing the whole thing, but I really enjoyed what it was for a show.
Yeah, I did too. Sorry, I know I'm not saying things. I'm just making noises at this point.
Just feeling out loud.
I am. It's one of those things where I wanted so much more for the last season as far as quality. But I think in terms of pacing, they did a pretty good job. They did really zip through the death of Superman.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they just pulled a few pieces out of that and let it be. And
I did get really, especially in that last season, I was sending you comments like, they're in the middle of July on Superman and Lois season 4, but they're all dressed in sweaters and coats.
Mm-hmm.
And you said layers in Kansas is the law.
Yeah.
And then I said in episode 5, they literally stopped. They all stopped what they were doing, conversations they were having, stood in fucking place to wait for it to get pitch black outside. It went from commercial at 1 p.m. from commercial at 9 p.m. and they were all picking up where the commercial left off. And you said long siestas in Kansas. It's the law. At this point, I said, I'm ashamed to have talked this show up so much. Season 4 especially has been markedly bad. And you said suspension of disbelief in Kansas. It's the law.
It helps.
Oh, God. But, you did make a good point. You said this is going to be fun to compare because for me coming back to this universe, I see the bar in one spot, but you have a different history now.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't really considered it necessarily in that way. Like, looking back on it now, like, and having just watched it all, like, what do you think was the best season? Because I know you hate Shakespearean Kryptonians.
God, it's so bad. So bad.
I mean, you literally messaged me and said, faux Shakespearean Kryptonian dialogue, go to hell and kick brimstone.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you on that.
That's so weird. I hate it every time.
So much. Why do they do that?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many other choices to make. They could just be normal dicks with regular dialogue. I don't know. It baffles me, but they do it every time.
So I'm going to make a guess that your favorite season was 3.
Maybe. God, I watched it all at once though. So let's define the seasons. All right. So season 1's really like who's our big bads? Really, it's like kind
the
of
Kryptonians.
The stranger. Oh yeah, Kryptonians and season 1. Okay, yeah. So remember that. Season 2's kind of Parallel Earth Lady.
Yeah, Ali Alston.
Yeah,
and Bizarro.
Yeah.
Well, season 1, though, Kryptonians aside, I loved John Irons. I loved him as the bad guy.
Yeah, he was a good bad guy.
I loved it. I thought he was awesome. And I thought he was awesome throughout the entire show. I liked John Irons the whole time.
Yeah, he was a highlight.
And this is despite the fact that I'm sitting here listening every episode to my wife talk about how hot he is. I mean, I can't even argue. I'm like, yep.
Which is distracting because of all the obvious reasons and its correctness.
Yeah.
What was season 3 again, though? I mean, I know where season 4 was. That's where we began.
Season 3 was Lois fights cancer.
Lois fights cancer. Okay.
I don't remember the bad guy. Oh, yeah, the bad guy was Mannheim.
Yeah. No, I think 3 was probably my least favorite.
Weird. I think that was the one where I was just like sitting there like sobbing every episode going, this show is so good.
It was. I don't know. I do think a whole cancer season just does not hit you as hard if you binge it. I think that's not gonna sit with you in the same way. It's also a lot different when.
Yeah, we did have to like live with it.
Yeah. If you're sitting there living with that and even not knowing things about the character, but like I've seen, clips of season 4. It is a lot harder to get really taken in by a story like that when you just already know they're fine.
Except not, but this.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of it. Like it. I don't know. Maybe season 2 is probably my favorite.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could see it. I liked season 2. I liked the parallel Earth.
I think it has maybe it has my favorite visual in the entire series, which was just Superman punching a cubed circle Earth, because that felt so overpowered and sort of 60s-esque sci-fi Superman that I loved it for a sec.
Yeah. I don't know. I just they straight up did the cubed Earth, didn't they? Mm-hmm. Oh God.
And I can't really. I know this sounds odd. But I really loved the design of Bizarro so much in this show. He looks phenomenal. I love the fucking way they did his eyes and the little scratchy face thing. I just thought he looked great. Mm-hmm. And I had a really fucking, I don't know, that one actually pulled my heartstrings a lot more. That some of his backstory. Oh yeah,
that was tragic.
Really got to me, maybe more than even the cancer story, just because the cancer story just seemed to, I don't know, it just seems different when I know the outcome so much. But, I don't know. I think 2 was probably a favorite for me. 3, I enjoyed, but not quite as much. I think season 2, probably the only thing I hated about it was I thought it did a pretty good job of making me not annoyed with doppelgangers for the most part. But the problem is that like when that crept through, I hate them so thoroughly that I didn't just mildly dislike it. I was like actively pissed about it for a second.
Yeah, you texted that to me. You said, I could go the rest of my life without an evil doppelganger, but no one knows yet story, and it wouldn't be enough time.
Yeah.
You said the merging is a newer wrinkle, at least, but I have grown to hate that smug beat on every actor's face when they inevitably go, but I'm not your blah, blah, blah.
God, I fucking hate that shit, though, don't you? Oh, my God, I hate that shit. Every time, doesn't it make you want to throw the remote at something?
I hate it.
Oh, yeah. It can also kick rocks.
Yeah. Now, one of the things you complained about was you said this show definitely keeps up the quota for CW shows of I lied to protect you per season.
God,
now,
yes.
I did point out they actually do make the lying to protect them make sense in this show for the most part.
Yeah, I think so. And it has. Well, I think a lot of the CW probably has this in its favor. Most of the CW, I think, came clean over its course of events. At least the parts that I remember wrapping up. I mean, yeah, he outed himself. I believe Arrow was outed before he was out of there, right?
Dude, that was one of the. I think so, but I mean, he died, so yeah. I mean, he's really out.
Yeah, he's definitely out there. Yeah, I think he's.
But yeah, he did.
But God, that's really intimate. But yeah, like I thought it paid off really well because the payoff in season 4 for all the I Lie to Protect Yous was there, and that made it a lot easier to swallow the binging part for me because it was not sitting on this for years and resenting every second of it. That was a huge improvement for me.
Yeah,
you were right though. I think they did build it in way better than it has been in other cases. Not that every other time they used it on the CW was a shit show, but
right,
it was a mainstay of an episode of the CW. They even brought on like,
it's just an easy way to stretch the storyline out over fucking 23 episodes a season.
It is. I do love bringing on Diggle to pass the baton of I Lied to Protect You.
I
mean, just, man, I mean, fucking him and Oliver started that shit so long ago now, right?
2012?
I can hear it now. I lied to protect you, Oliver.
Mm-hmm. Here's some more fun stuff you said.
No, God. It's actually scary.
You said, in binge form, there is a lot of yelling at teenage boys for shit, but that's on me for consuming it this way.
Yeah, that's true.
Either way, I've seen a lot of Elizabeth tonsils this week.
Oh, yeah. To which you replied, triggered.
Yeah. He also said, the apologies in this show are truly top notch. They're like tiny role plays of what you would say if you could pause conversations and go to therapy for a month.
Yeah, if you just got to go like really work it out first. Yeah.
He also said, but some of these guys are going to noble themselves to death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was great.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. And now I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free and each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
At some point, you randomly said, thank God Tyler Hoechlin can actually throw something.
Oh, yeah. God,
It's a small but super annoying gripe for me. Actors didn't play sports growing up and can't overarm throw for shit. John Kent on this show is no quarterback in real life.
Yeah.
Was that one or two? John Kent, one or two?
Oh, that's a good question. I think two. I can't remember actually. I would do that.
Well, once it was number two, he never played. I mean, he never played football, so I guess it would have to be one.
Yeah,
because by that time he was already kicked off the team for using drugs.
That might have been it. Yeah, it might have been number two that actually threw something, and I was like, oh yeah, I think that was it. Because I remember thinking back to all those clips of him in the quarterback gear, thinking they must have cut away just right. Anyway, it is a pet peeve of mine though, and that is my genuine hot take on why it happens is because it's a lot of people who didn't play as much sports and don't have a good overhand throw.
Mm-hmm. By the way, the whole John takes drugs to level up in football storyline, I'm pretty sure is what makes me say season 3 over season 2. Because that was season 2, and I'm just like, I'm so fucking sick of that. Like that's fucking Roy and the Mirakuru again.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm tired. I'm tired, y'all.
That was he was also the one I was talking about that was going to noble himself to death, I think. Because man, I get it, and they finally gave him an out. There were little moments like that I thought were really fun, and generally the show did what I was saying, a pretty good job of just being like a really good template for a hard conversation sometimes. I mean, the writers would basically, or however it was done, like you had this conversation where someone would open with, here's how I understand you feel about the situation. Tell me if I'm wrong about that. Like it was, you know, it was a great script for how to deal with actual shit after the fact.
Uh-huh.
But sometimes like you would get a really cool moment like that. Sometimes there'd be a payoff. And then other moments like all of fucking John's running around and lying, like just episode hours of TV of him just not wanting, like throwing his life away over one secret, and they finally get the thing out of him, and like no one goes back and talks to him. I didn't seem like they ever sat down and were like, you were going to throw your, I don't know. They didn't recap with him. You were going to throw your entire life away for this shit. Like, let's talk scale, my friend. That's all.
I don't know. I kind of feel like that's all they ever did.
They did a little, but I don't know. It just seemed weird. There were just moments like that I felt like there was supposed to be yet another conversation. That
also, like, it was clear he knew he was not doing the right thing. Like, you're Superman's boy. You know better than this shit. What the fuck's wrong with you, boy? Now,
maybe that was what I was looking for. I think I was looking for that moment where someone told him, I understand why you did this. Like, I don't remember it, though. That's probably my fault for just watching it as fast as I did. I probably skipped over that line somewhere. I just felt like no one actually told him, like, yeah, let me validate at least what you're doing. You were dying on a hill. You said you'd die.
But, you know, I don't know. The
I
whole
guess his
thing
brother
is
said
just,
that briefly at one point, but it was kind of...
Oh, yeah, he definitely did. He was... I don't know. I feel like...
Maybe it just seemed like something Superman just said. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. John had a rough run of it, you know. Didn't get powers. Went from being like the quarterback and losing his girlfriend to not only having to move away and not be the big man on campus, but also his like little crappy brother, crybaby brother.
Yeah.
Is the one that gets the powers. Yeah. I'm not saying he's a crybaby. I mean, he's a little bit of a crybaby. Okay, I just said it. But at the same time, I get it, you know.
I think the show makes a point of him being kind of protected by his older brother. His older brother snaps at some point.
Yeah.
I did think what they did with him getting the team disbanded was kind of funny, because it shows up as consequences for years in the course of the show. And almost as it's brought up every time, like the first time I remember hearing about it later and it was a real problem. Did he actually? Oh my God, he did. I guess they did say it canceled the season. I forgot about it. It was almost a side note, but it became just years and years of shit.
And like, if I had the ability, I would go back and rewatch it, because like last night I was like watching this thing with Bethany and I'm like, and they bring up that they're 16 and I was like, how the fuck old are they? How long has this show been going on in their universe?
Yeah.
Because like, I thought they were like fucking 16 in the first season.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe it was like season 2 before they decided to start driving, and then it's all happened really, I don't know. But I kind of feel like,
I think it roughly tracks. I mean, high school in theory is 9, 10, 11, 12, if, you know, American high school. So like,
see, this is another thing that I'm talking about. It's like, along with the night and day being so weird in the edits, like at some point before they did any kind of time jump, Clark was talking about a fucking year, 4 years. He said, it's been 4 years. Okay. When? Because your sons have been like 16 for like 3 years.
They have. I even the 4 years of high school, I think it fits. It felt like they did their like junior and senior years the whole time.
But yeah,
somehow.
like Lois like had cancer for like a year.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in the show.
Yeah. Some of the time frame could have been stretched a little.
Super confusing for me. All right. One of my favorites. You said at one point, Kyle is like, I know our daughter just totaled the car, got a DUI underage, and almost died tonight, but I'm leaving because I know both of you are lying to me about the flying man. And in that moment, I understood.
You gotta love how prescient one thing was to him right then. He's gonna literally put aside terrestrial matters for the extraterrestrial ones.
I actually heard your voice. I heard you say, and in that moment, I understood.
I know how this ends. I'll be the fool.
You said Sarah's younger sister could just walk away and no one in or out of the show would notice for weeks. That happened.
I'd love you to tell me that happened. She wandered off in the set They found her in Toronto.
Like, I don't think we saw her almost the entire episode. We saw her at, like, the wedding.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. She is, like, 1.5 feet taller than Sarah now.
Yeah, I thought they were going to bring her back in the next episode as a 27-year-old. Like, that was a weird thing to have around. It felt like it would have been easier to just not have a little sister there.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where they did an episode where she ran away, and it was hilariously, well, it was forgettable, is what it was. Like, it just seemed like a weird piece of baggage to have hanging around. Mm-hmm. Not that anyone in there did any kind of job with it. It was fine, but, like, they just seemed to have it there and not know what to do with it for a few seasons.
Yeah.
But once they split the family up, man, like, I don't know. I guess that ended up working in their favor in general, because there really were a bunch of like budget cuts that ended up being cast restrictions in the last couple of seasons, weren't there?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they fired everyone. For sure.
Actually, spoiler alert, you imagined the 4th season.
Yeah.
It's however you said it ended.
Look. Okay. So I will give the show the fact that they continually subverted my expectations. Because you know me, man, I'm a dick. I'm sitting there going like, oh, clearly this is what they're gonna do, and then they didn't do it, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't think back in the day. I was like, oh, Lana and Kyle will be fine.
Yeah.
No, they broke those fuckers up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Immediately.
All right.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake. From choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates, and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. And now I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free and each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Even some high level things like, Bizarro turning into Doomsday isn't. I don't remember that being anywhere. Is it?
Yeah, I mean, they literally had.
I love Biker Gang Lex for the most part.
Well, okay, so with Bizarro, they did a cool thing because he comes out with the Doomsday uniform on, like the Doomsday prison suit from days of yore. Mm-hmm. And like the green and the goggles and everything, and you're like, dope, that's Doomsday. And then expectations subverted. It's Bizarro, but also foreshadowing because he's Doomsday. Mm-hmm. But like one of my calls was, and they really red herringed it too. They tricked the fuck out of me, because I think the episode before they did this, like I'm sitting there going like, oh, you know what? I bet Superman's heart is gonna fail because it's old man heart, and they already made a statement at the beginning of season 4 that like they can hear his boop boop boop, his triple heartbeat. Mm-hmm. And so they're gonna. I think one of the boys is gonna be like, holy shit, Doomsday's heart beats three times. It did used to be a alternate version of Dad. At some point, like especially after Lois like talked to him and got to his heart, womp womp. Like, he's gonna like self-sacrifice. Like, Doomsday's got to hear Clark's heart and go like, oh shit. He's gonna know it's failing, and he's gonna like offer his heart, and they're gonna rush him to the fortress, and they're gonna take Sam's heart out and put in Doomsday's heart, and that's gonna be how that works. And then they just didn't fucking do it.
Nope. You just don't get Superman back. Not this time.
Like, even in like the next episode, like after they're like, oh yeah, his heart's failing, they did like the previously on, and they showed Doomsday again. You're like, okay, yeah. And like through the entire previously on is it is like the heartbeat. It is like Clark's heartbeat. And then in the part of the flashback where he comes back with Sam's heart, it's like still the heartbeat, but it's like Sam's heartbeat. It's only one. And I was like, dude, they are like foreshadowing the shit out of the fact that Doomsday is gonna have a change of heart, womp womp, and give Superman his heart. And then he just like, I'm like, okay, so he's taking him to the sun. All right. Well, I mean, at some point they're going to realize that this has to happen, and he's going to get that heart, or he's going to come back. We're not going to see it on screen, but he's going to come back, and he's going to have the Doomsday's heart and be like, I had an idea. And they just didn't do it. And I was like, what was all that buildup except to red herring me? Did they know that I would think that?
Yeah. And for a second, I want to be like, no, they can't do it because of the rules. That it'd be hard to do. I don't know how you'd get inside him to get it out. But
I mean, yeah, I was thinking like Doomsday would actually just like grab it out of his own chest, especially like when he's like, he's like going into the sun, he starts like his skin starts to break.
Yeah.
His skin starts to break and disintegrate. It's like he gets snapped, you know?
Just pulls his heart out the last second. Go on, Clark.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what I thought they were going to do.
No.
And they just...
No,
they just didn't do that shit at all.
I mean, you could headcanon it as probably too warped in some capacity, or any number of things, but I mean, I think it made more sense for it to end. I was pretty sure it just wasn't going to come back at all. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't too. It made sense for it to just be a thing that happened and it sucked and they just lost that time.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it stuck too, like, cause they brought it up a couple times. It really stuck later, like as they're even sitting by his bedside and Superman's dying. I had a moment where I looked at Jordan, oldest Jordan now, I guess. And I was like, and you'd have Superman by your side if you weren't so damn impatient. I was thinking that in the closing moments of the show.
You know, sadly, what I was thinking at the ending of Superman, the ending was so weird to me.
I like
because like it goes into like
really
voiceover. I like the voiceover took me out of it, where he was just like, I live 32 more years. And I'm like, ugh, what are we doing? Like, this is a shift I don't like.
You gotta wrap up, how Superman died.
And I'm like, who is he talking to? Is he talking to us? Is he talking to a bartender at the end of SEAL Team Season 5? I don't understand. What was
the bartender then in Quantum Leap, for all it matters. I figured it in my head, it's just like a surreal. You didn't really walk through the house and see people that were dead already anyway. She's not in that dress, It's
so funny you brought up the dress. Like, okay. So like he gets into the like 32 years and we do the flashback, and like every time I'm about to get got and I could feel the tears welling up and I'm really letting myself get into it. And then they're like, now let me show you Jordan and John as an adult. And I'm like, those guys look nothing like them. They would have been better to like cut their hair and put a fucking fake beard on.
Yeah.
Like they just look, this is terrible. This is worse. And yes, I know what I'm saying. I understand the weight of what I'm saying. This is worse than David Mazouz as grown Batman in the Gotham series finale. Uh-huh. This is fucking worse than that. But I'm like, these two guys look nothing like John and Jordan. Nothing. And the whole time I'm seeing them in the flash forward or flash, whatever it is, I'm not buying it. Also, like, old Lois, I don't buy her at all. Like, they've suddenly got her dressed like a librarian. Like, she's wearing a fucking, like a shawl and a really high long skirt, and she's wearing freaking, I don't know, like moccasins? Like, she, it's like nothing about this looks like Lois at all. They just like, are like, oh, what would an old lady wear? Oh, this. I just didn't buy that at all.
That'll be all of the times in 32 years, Dave.
Yeah. And then, like, okay. They got me. They got me when she dies and she says, Daddy. Mm-hmm. All right. I start to well up. Then it's Clark's turn. He's dying. I did love that he got a dog and named him Crypto. Oh, that was, I knew that was going to get you, by the way.
Of course it does.
I knew that was going to get you. And then he dies, and I'm like, okay, this would be touching if it wasn't for grown John and Jordan.
For the weirdos.
But then he dies, you know, and they knew it. And I know that they know it because when he dies and time is not linear and he meets back up with John and Jordan, they're the right people again. It's like he still looks over and sees all of his grandkids and he's like, oh yeah, my grandkids. But I made sure that those guys were right in my mind's eye in the afterlife. But yeah, so even then I was like, okay, I'm a little misty. And then they open the door and I laugh because like this is like the gaudiest fucking Christmas shoes dress I've ever seen that Lois is wearing. This bright glitter. They literally look like the ruby red this dress looks like the ruby red slippers from Wizard of Oz.
Oh, it does. It is a callback though, if you recall though.
I don't recall. What is it a callback to?
So they have this whole episode where she's about to get some award or something. And I think it was during the cancer season where she's in that dress and she really felt like her own. And, you know, for the first time, I think it's one of the things she doesn't want to throw away or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have a whole little story arc with the red dress, and he has to talk to her about, you know, how he feels about, I think that's part of how they talk about her womanhood in general and how she sees herself then and now and going forward kind of thing. So I think that, I'm pretty sure that was what she showed back up in, was that dress that they had mentioned, I guess, later.
Okay. Well, I can be a little better with that. And I did think, like, I wonder if that dress was something that I'm going to feel like a dick for shitting on later. But
well, it's that or I overextended a red dress and gave him too much credit.
You may have, but 50, you know 50. What? They did some incredible stuff with this, especially considering they had like no money.
Yeah.
I love that the catalyst for him coming out to the world was a callback to my favorite scene of the show when what's his dick has beaten up John and pulled a gun on Lois, and Clark just like storms into the diner. The cafe scene. Absolutely my favorite scene in the entire series, where he like gets up and like shoves Kent and he doesn't move. Like he falls just trying to shove Kent.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
I love that it was like, I love that they actually took the time to go into like what really happens when it starts getting around that Clark Kent is Superman.
Yeah. It made sense that Lex went back to, pull that thread for us.
Yeah.
I thought that buttoned up really well.
Yeah,
Cool,
I really love
cool
that. I don't want to shit on the show too much. There was some disappointments in season 4, but I did like a lot of what they did.
I really did. Hell, even in the last scene, I remember thinking to myself, "Oh yeah, they gave us the young actors back just so you could see them one more. Yeah, I know we had to cast the old guys.
Yeah,
to make the
They
scene
didn't,
work.
though.
But yeah, here's the young guys that you came for.
they didn't have to cut Jordan's hair, give him a fake beard. He'll be fine.
Just mustache him.
Yeah,
Mustache them both. That'd be great.
just mullets and mustaches
Yeah.
for everyone.
No, that'd be great. Do the montage of, yeah, we saw them as the years passed. We saw them. And all you do is just cast people who get slightly bigger, but it's Halloween every time.
Uh-huh.
So every time they're in mask anyway,
Yeah.
you're just pulling people
Or-
off the street that are the right height, shove them in there for the next year.
Give them lifts for their shoes.
Yeah.
Because they're 16. They might grow another inch or two.
I mean, they're like good half a foot if they get extreme about it, but it's got limits.
Yeah, it's not, let's be conservative with it. Just put lifts in their shoes and give one of them a goatee and give Jordan a beard to cover up, his face.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't see how young he is. Because Jordan, that's the thing, is Jordan looks young anyway. And you brought that up. You said, what did you say? Something like, you did say something like that. Oh, why does Jordan always look flushed like he's been in a cold wind for 30 minutes?
Yeah.
He does. He just looks like, that's like a 12-year-old's like,
He's got flushed cheeks the entire time.
Yeah.
It stands out in scenes where he shouldn't look embarrassed, but does. Like he always, that's what it always strikes me as. It looks like he was just out back in the cold having a cigarette by himself in the blaring wind for 25 minutes. And they went, yeah, we're putting you back on, and shoved him back in there. Mm-hmm. Which is possible. It was Vancouver.
now here's a fun thing that I noticed. And it was the first time, I thought those kids were pretty good actors. But you know how, you can catch a laugh that's genuine and you're like, oh, that was real. Mm-hmm. Like, you suddenly, it's broken and you see the real truth, Mm-hmm. There's a scene where, Clark is going to train with them. And he's, talking about how, I always had to train alone. I had to do all of this alone. And Jordan goes, oh, that's really sad, man. Jordan, and John goes, yeah, do you, need a hug?
Yeah.
And they, Jordan, cracks up at that. And it was no, that was real. I don't think that scene was totally scripted. Because it just doesn't look. Maybe it was totally scripted, and it was just oh, this is what it's like to see Jordan laugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it felt very real.
It always charms up a room like that to have an actor actually laugh in scene.
Uh-huh.
God, it adds a lot.
It does.
It's one of those things that I probably missed more times than I would even imagine to count, but made me feel the way they thought it made me feel, which was slightly better.
Yeah. So yeah, I do like that that we got to see the rest of Superman's life in a way. And I like that he, you know what it reminded me of? He started, first of all, he and Lois started a charity or whatever, like a nonprofit or something, to help people after he pretty much lost his powers, right? Mm-hmm. That's Christopher Reeve.
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
I thought that was nice. I really liked that. I liked being, I did like seeing the rest of his life. Was a little troubled that certain people didn't show up in his afterlife. Like Sam Lane wasn't there. Natalie wasn't there.
Yeah, both notable. Well, actually, no, but that may be it. But
yeah, that might be it.
I don't have a third either.
Oh, creepy Jimmy wasn't there. Creepy crackhead Jimmy, who might be a child predator.
Yeah.
That flashback episode with Jimmy Olsen was just like, I was like, ugh, this version is Jimmy Olsen? Ugh. I wouldn't want to be your friend, dude.
It was definitely an eccentric choice.
Like long greasy hair. Like, ugh, come on, man. Like,
it was not a choice for like, or was not a choice to look for like apparently the party, life of the party in the office kind of thing.
I'm like, look, man, can we just get McCad Brooks back, please?
Somebody needs to bathe our office spirit animal.
Oh, by the way, I don't know if you caught it, but like the stuff that he was bringing up when he was like, okay, so you missed the last 3 games. Let's look at what was going on. Superman stopped a helicopter crash. Superman helped. There was a train derailed, and an elevator fell at the Eiffel Tower in London, in Paris. All of that was from the Chris Reeves movies.
Nice. The
The Christopher Reeve movies had that was I think 1, 2, and 3. Those were all I think the pictures were from.
Those are both good.
Anyway. I don't know. I think that's all I've got.
Yeah. Probably spent on it too. I enjoyed my time.
Yeah. I was excited to be done and excited that you were catching up.
I was excited to have caught up right there for the right there at the in time for the finish line.
Yeah. And you know what? I'll probably look back on, as I usually do. I usually look back on these with a little more leeway, I'll say. Like in a couple years, 2 or 3 years, when I go back and watch just the finale, because that's how I do things, I'll go, oh yeah. And I'll sit there and cry, and I'll be alone, and no one will ever know. And I'll be like, well, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you won't know until like me and you talk about it just like a year later by happenstance, and suddenly you've got a favorable opinion that wasn't there before about something.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to think of everything.
Well, yeah. It's not like the opinions are registered somewhere and you can go like, audibly change them.
I was really, really, really sad for Doomsday. Man, I wanted that guy to get
tragic
back home.
arc the entire time. Oh man, glad you brought it up. I do, maybe more than any scene. I really love the scene of him going into the sun. I thought they did a great job with Doomsday's eyes the entire time.
Yeah, entire time.
Really phenomenal job with that, and especially in that scene, they acted so well with those damn things. Just that little gesture where he holds his hand up, Superman stops. That whole, man, that one. I thought that would have been incredible in any Superman story I ever saw or read. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I can see that. What did you think of? Sorry, I do want to say because when he's trying to dig into that rock and blast into that rock, Bethany was like, "Where is it? What is he doing? Where is he?" And I was like, "He's back at the cave trying to get back home." I wanted to cry. Realizing where he was, desperately trying to get back into that cavern to get back. I just
to a portal that's not working anymore.
That was so sad.
Yeah.
That was so sad. What did you think of in the afterlife, Clark sitting down next to the sobbing Lex?
I like it.
And forgiving him.
I really do like it.
I liked it too. And I liked that when he forgave him, he got up to walk away and Lex wasn't there anymore. Mm-hmm. Like Lex was stuck inside of his own prison, needing to be forgiven. Kind of. That's how it felt to me.
It, I don't know. It read a lot more. It's, there's that saying about resenting something is drinking poison, hope the other person gets sick.
Mm-hmm.
It reeked a lot of that to me where and that forgiveness doesn't necessarily have to be for Lex. Like, this is an imaginary world. I have no reason to think that Lex at any point had any real regret over his behavior.
Yeah.
He may regret it in a physical sense, being used as a chair, but like, I don't know if he's ever actually going to have a quiet sobbing moment. Like
that was a wonderful callback.
That was good. But
that was. And in the end, I didn't mind Sons of Anarchy Lex.
No, and he had a good soundtrack. That's exactly the whole time. What it was. Not even that style of music is my favorite, but I just thought they did a good job with that piece, though. But yeah, I don't know. There was a whole like lesson in there about was that forgiveness really just for Clark so he can give himself that so he can pass peacefully? I don't know, maybe. And there's truth to that. That's a good thing for him.
Yeah.
Could be that he actually maybe had that moment later with Lex and he's remembering it. I don't know. I don't have to. For that finale, I thought it really worked.
Do you know the number one thing that surprises engaged couples? Take a guess. The sheer amount of decisions they have to make while planning a wedding. Indoors or outdoors? How many guests? Are kids invited? Controversial. Which cake flavor? Seriously, how do you even begin to figure out what's right for you? That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to make every wedding decision a piece of cake, from choosing your dream wedding venue and vendors to deciding how to best spend your budget. With tons of customizable wedding websites, save the dates and invites, every detail will feel like you. Zola will even help you choose the gifts, experiences, and cash funds you really want. The next thing you know, you've planned your whole wedding all in one place. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Yeah, I think it mostly worked. And then there were little bits that like it just kind of kept pulling me out. But now that I know those things are there when I watch it next time, it'll work for me a lot better.
Oh, yeah. Now that it's not kind of, slamming you on the head in either direction.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Anyway, I feel like we had four pretty good seasons, honestly, of Superman. And I'm not mad that it's over, because if they were going to keep cutting the budget for it, like I don't want to see it go further down in quality at all.
No,
please, just like let's just be done. And I thought they did a fine job with what they had.
Yeah,
and I still say screw it. Recommend the show.
No, absolutely.
And I think I'm going to call it. Are you good with that? Do you feel?
Yeah.
At ease?
Yeah. It goes by so fast. So right.
Yeah. Oh, you son of a bitch.
That was a killer. That was a killer last line. I deep credit on that one.
Yeah. That made me sad.
Well, we've got Penguin to cover anyway, so
we do. In case you're going, yeah. In case you're wondering, we are aware news is happening. Announcements are happening. We will talk about those.
Phones have been updated with new wallpapers.
Phones have been updated with new wallpapers, indeed. We will talk about those things, but you know what? There's a teaser trailer for Superman coming on Thursday. It is currently Monday, so I feel like probably sometime this weekend we're going to get to that. I feel like we're going to have to do a show about that.
Yeah, well, we need to sneak that in before the holidays take over anyway.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long week for many of us coming up.
I'm excited. I'm so excited, Jason. Yeah. I just like...
So you were just basking in how excited you were.
I did. Like I was basking. It was weird.
Just letting you have a moment.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a patron. If you are a patron, and if you're not, patreon.com/DC on screen. You can go check that out over there and... be a $1 a month patron or a $5 a month patron. There are benefits to both. I'll let you go check those out. Either way, it's not a whole lot of money per month. And you can even sign up for free and just be a part of the community and see when we post stuff from time to time. So, I don't know. Until then, keep some DC on your screen. Or until next time. Not until then. Or I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
We'll see you then.
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
All right, we're all set for the party. I've trimmed the tree, hung the mistletoe, and paired all those weird-shaped knives and forks with the appropriate cheeses. And I plugged in the Bartesian.
Bartesian?
It's a home cocktail maker that makes over 60 premium cocktails, plus a whole lot of seasonal favorites, too. I just got it for $50 off. So, how about a Cosmopolitan or a mistletoe margarita?
I'm thirsty.
Watch. I just pop in a capsule, choose my strength, and...
Wow, it's beginning to feel more seasonal in here already.
If your holiday party doesn't have a bartender, then you become the bartender. Unless you've got a Bartesian, because Bartesian crafts every cocktail perfectly in as little as 30 seconds. And I just got it for $50 off.
'Tis the season to be jollier.
Add some holiday flavor to every celebration with the sleek, sophisticated home cocktail maker, Bartesian. Get $50 off any cocktail maker at bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.